Hey everyone, welcome to week number 9 of the Soul Mermaids book club. We are up to chapter 9 of Finding My Soul at Sea. And I'm just reading a little bit from each chapter just to give you a little bit of a teaser to encourage you to maybe have a look at the book if you haven't already read it. And this week, as I say, we're up to chapter 9, which is the chapter called Best. Now, these stories were picked as the best because there was great sex, gorgeous men, brilliant musicians, clever comedic timing, incredible friendships, creative revenge, and karmic retribution. So it's all the best in one chapter. So what I'm doing is I'm just reading one of the stories each week so that you can kind of get a bit of a sense of what the stories are all about. And this week I'm going to read the story called Karma Comes Around, which is one of my favourite stories about the time that I got transferred off a ship because of a crazy cruise director. And this is how karma kind of came back and balanced things out a little bit, let's just say. So, Karma Comes Around. After I was transferred to the LA-based ship, I spent most of my time trying to convince the staff in head office, the hotel director, and anyone else who would listen that I should be transferred back to the Alaska-based ship. Damien, the cruise director, was finishing his contract and Cherie was taking over. She said she was happy for me to transfer back, but the hotel director who took over from Evan didn't want to overturn his decision. In the end, I realised it was a losing battle and I gave up trying. The social host coordinator in the office arranged for my next contract to be with Leo on a New York-based ship, which was great. It would mean 3 months apart, but we were happy to have something to look forward to. One of my confidants on the LA-based ship was a fly-on entertainer called Wayne. He was a ventriloquist and a comedian. He was weird and wonderfully smart, and he just saw things a little differently than the rest of the world. I loved talking to him. He made me laugh, and he was totally convinced that Damien would learn a karmic lesson because of his treatment of me. One week, Wayne came onto the ship very excited to see me. He took me for a coffee at the cafe, as usual, and he had a great story to tell me, so he said. "Okay. What's up? You're jumping out of your skin," I said once we got there. "All right, okay, right. You know how I always said that Damien would get his one day?" He was jigging around in his seat. "Yes," I rolled my eyes and smiled. "Well, I was sent to his ship last week. That's why I wasn't here." He paused for a dramatic effect. "Oh," I said. He was grinning madly. "Come on, Wayne, you're killing me." "Okay. So I met Damien in his cabin when I came on board. He was all over the top polite and offering me drinks, but he was a bit jumpy and weird. So I asked him what was going on. He said that he'd received an email from the office about a social host who wanted to come back to the ship. He said he was nervous because he'd screwed her over and now he might have to work with her again." I was gobsmacked. I just sat there with my mouth open and nodded. "I know." Wayne put his hand on my arm. "Wait till you hear the rest." So I pretended I didn't know anything and I asked him what he meant by screwed over. And then he told me how he'd read her emails and then pulled out the parts that seemed to show her doing things behind his back and undermining his authority. And he gave them to the hotel director who had her transferred to another ship. And then he said that now she might be coming back to the ship and he was freaking out. He asked me, what should I do? "And what did you say?" I couldn't believe my ears. Damien was talking about me to one of my closest friends. "Well, he had no idea I knew you or the whole story from your perspective, and he never thought to ask me if I knew you, so I thought it was an opportunity for me to help him learn his lesson. So I went into bat for you, Miss Pip. I swung it hard. I told him he was a coward for not talking to you professionally before he had you transferred, and that if he ever meets you again, he should step up and apologise for what he did to you. I said that it was unacceptable behaviour from a manager, He was all ashamed and upset. He agreed that he'd been unprofessional. He kept saying how bad he felt for what happened. He was really torturing himself about it. Wow, I can't believe it. You said all that to him? I was really touched that he'd said all that in my defence. Of course, he deserved it. He was humble as always. That's so wonderful of you. Thank you so much. I feel a lot better about not going back to that ship. If he's staying as CD, I wouldn't want to be working with him again. It was amazing. I was so delighted that Wayne had said all that to Damien. He really did behave in a very underhanded way. We might have been able to sort it out if he'd come to me to discuss our issues like a normal human being. And so, karma did come around after all. So awesome. You'll have to read the book to read the previous story of where I actually got transferred off the ship because of Damien. But that is chapter 9 of Finding My Soul at Sea, or part of chapter 9. There are other cool stories. Hope to hear your feedback soon when you get a copy of the book. Check out www.pipcoleman.com to get your copy of Finding My Soul at Sea. And I'll see you next time for our next chapter at the Soul Mermaids Book Club. Bye for now.